As soon as you're born, they make you feel small by giving you no time instead of it all.
I am 21 years old. I work 40 hours a week usually. Sometimes I have to do overtime depending on how short-staffed the store is sometimes. And I have 5 classes right now.
How old are you?
26.
How much do you work?
25 to 35.
How many classes do you take in school?
4.
I am 19 years old. I am taking 5 classes right now, and I work about 20 hours a week.
They hurt you at home and they hit you at school.
The reason that I work while being in school is because I don't have really the luxury of having my parents pay for different things. I've grown up kind of just working to make my own money, so in order for me to hopefully pay off school and not have much debt whenever I graduate, I have to work.
Keeping my grades up is hard because I work a lot and I take care of my son, so it's hard to balance work and
You have to learn to manage your time. It's definitely something that I feel like with working I have to do because I have to pay certain bills. I can't just not pay them as a student, so I have to keep my job and I stay committed to the other things that I commit to.
Then they expect you to pick a career.
I do pay my own bills. I have to, even though I still live at home with my parents, they do I don't have to pay rent or anything like that, but I have to pay things like my cell phone bill, my car insurance. I have to, get to school every single day. If there's certain food that I like, I have to pay for that. And of course, obviously the student loans that I've taken out, I'm gonna have to pay for that eventually too.
I live with my parents because I have a son. It's hard to live on my own, so that's why I live with my parents. Because I help pay for whatever I can working and go to school. It's hard. I feel like I have to work because there's no other option. Because I have a son, I can't just go to school.
I pretty much pay for everything myself. I'm paying for my full college. I have to take out loans and pretty much pay it back whenever I get a job outside of college and pay what I can now that I am in college and working.
A working class hero is something to be. There's room at the top, they are telling you still.
I did do an internship this semester, fall 2010. I interned at WPXI. I was a part of their web team. And on top of that, I also had 5 other classes that I had to worry about, and I worked, 35, 40 hours a week. So I was able to manage that all in with a social life and going to the gym a few times a week too. So it's definitely very manageable. People think that because they go to college, they don't have time and whatnot, but that's completely false. Like, you can make time for things, definitely. It may be a little stressful at times, but you can definitely make it work.
Internships or anything?
It's impossible to juggle school and work and my son, so there will be no time for that. I feel like that's starting me for a future career.
I would plan to have an internship, but it all depends on whether I would get paid or not, because as a working student I have to pay off certain loans and I have to pay certain bills, so it would probably come down to whether the internship was paid or not, and that could potentially hurt me in the future with my job because it gives you certain experience, but I got to do what I have to do as a working student.
Shake it out. Truth or consequence.
If you had the opportunity not to work, would you, or do you think you'd still work?
I would definitely still work. I think everybody should at least by, I think honestly in college you should have a job, and also in high school. I think it's definitely great to put yourself out there and kind of get that work experience, because if not, upon graduation, how are you going to actually kind of put yourself into that workforce? I mean, I think people get a little bit nervous and whatnot, so I definitely would work. And it just feels good making my own money, not having to worry about, asking my parents. At 21 years old, like, I couldn't imagine myself doing that. I definitely love working, and I would, always work.
If your parents could support you and you didn't have to work at all, do you think you would still want to, or do you think you would just not work at all?
I would probably still work because there's a certain responsibility that comes along with going to college and just growing up. I don't want to be too lenient on my parents and expecting them to take care of me my whole life. I have to learn to grow up at some point.